All right, in this video, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. I'm gonna share with you what your bookkeeper actually doesn't want you to know. Curious to find out? All right, a lot of times people ask me the question of, how do I hire a bookkeeper and what should I be looking for in a bookkeeper? And what I'm going to explain to you is ultimately what your bookkeeper is doing. And again, bookkeepers are very kind, very intelligent people, but fundamentally what they're doing is a large copy and paste exercise. So you're going to have transactions that were originated in a variety of different systems. And what they're doing is collecting all of those different transactions and doing a big copy and paste exercise to put them in some other singular spot, okay? So that some other singular spot might be QuickBooks, it might be FreshBooks, it might be whatever accounting software that you're using. But what I want you to remember is that particular spot, though you might kind of call it an accounting system, you could also simply use an Excel spreadsheet, you could use a piece of paper. If you go back in the history of time, businesses have been around for hundreds and thousands of years and computers haven't been around that long. So businesses have been tracking what transactions and kind of getting an overall picture of things without accounting softwares for a really long time. So remember that software exists to serve as a tool to help you. And if it is not acting as a tool to help you, you are allowed to not use it, okay? There is no requirement that you must be using any of those softwares. There's no rule under the sun that says that at all, okay? So what your bookkeeper is doing is gathering up two types of transactions. They're gathering up the transactions that are taking place from your customers, meaning the things that your customers are buying from you, as well as the things that you and your employees are spending money on that are purchasing these different expenses. So fundamentally, their job is to go and track those things down and type them in here, okay? So let's talk about, a lot of times people will say like, what should I look for in a bookkeeper? Well, fundamentally, you're looking for someone that can enter data accurately, right? Like that is kind of the gist of it. There's not really anything more going on than that. They're looking at historic transactions. They're looking at the past, and you're just trying to find someone that can write, $25 and not accidentally type it as 52. It's not rocket science. What you really want is to work with someone that's going to make it understandable to you. I'd be very cautious of a bookkeeper that's inflexible, okay? You're gonna wanna work with someone that has flexibility to make your life easier. The thing that I've noticed is sometimes a bookkeeper will say like, oh, well, I have 20 years of experience. But if you have 20 years experience doing a copy and paste the exact same way, how flexible are you really? So be very cautious that more years of experience doesn't always equate with a better experience, right? At the end of the day, you're just trying to find someone that is easy, makes your life easier to gather things up and to copy them in somewhere else. But the question that people forget to ask is, when to hire a bookkeeper. Now, of course, a bookkeeper is going to tell you, as soon as possible, I'll keep things all up to date, I'll save you all of this different time. And in some situations, okay, that makes sense. But there are some of you where actually the question of when to hire a bookkeeper might be never. And that's totally okay. What you're going to want to look at is the complexity of your transactions, the complexity and the quantity of your transactions. So let's say you're an e-commerce provider and you have everything synced up to a Stripe account, or you're set up to sell a very large quantity of transactions, but a fairly small number of various different products. Well, chances are your system or whatever platform you're using for online sales is going to aggregate all of that together. So it's really just one transaction that you're moving over into whatever combined system you're looking at. So that is actually something that you may choose that you don't even need a bookkeeper to look after that for you. If your revenue is all coming from one set location or one set stream, it actually might not be worth your while to have the hassle of finding someone, the back and forth, the emails, the this, the that. Where it might make more sense is if you have several different business lines or several different revenue streams. So maybe you have your e-commerce stream, but maybe you also have a service-based component to your business where you're providing some kind of an hourly service. And maybe you also have some other type of a package that comes in, maybe through physical locations or a pop-up store. The more various different types of revenue stream, again, not types of products, but types of revenue streams, the more it's going to make sense for you to hire a bookkeeper. The more consolidated it is, the more you might want to consider that cost and the expense associated with having someone jot this to this is not going to be worth it for you. So we talked on the revenue side. The exact same thing can happen in expenses. So if you have 5 contractors and every single contractor has their own company credit card where they're procuring things on behalf of your business, you're going to need someone to track down all those statements, gather up all those receipts, put all of those things together. That's probably a bit of a headache for you, and that's probably where you're going to want to look at having someone to help you put all those pieces together. But if you're a solopreneur and you have dedicated a sole account to use, so if you're, instead of using a checking account, a saving account, a credit card for this, a credit card for that, you say, what, all of my business expenses are going to funnel through this particular card, then I would really say, think about, do you even need a bookkeeper? Because what you can get from your bank is an extract of all of the transactions. You can actually probably skip a big component of the work because you'll get the CSV files. There's some really easy tweaks that you can do to separate out all the data requirements that you need. So my question to you is not so much, what do you need to look for in a bookkeeper, but it's really asking yourself the question of, when do you need a bookkeeper and when do you not? Because again, fundamentally, a bookkeeper is not going to help you drive the bottom line profit of your company. They're looking at the past, they're looking in the rear view mirror. So before you ask, what should I look for in a bookkeeper, make sure you've asked yourself, do I even need one in the first place?